Hi, I'm Becky Peebles. I'm primary care sports medicine doctor with UTHealth East Texas. This is week 2 of the running series, and today we're going to be talking about run form. I brought JT to help me today. Now, he has run a lot of marathons, over 20, and this year he's training for his 10th consecutive Boston Marathon. When we talk about running form, we talk about 2 things. The big thing that we want to think about is injury prevention, and then the big thing that you probably also care just as much about is being more efficient and feeling better when you run. When you look at the running literature, one of the biggest things that helps prevent injury is having a high cadence. Cadence is the number of steps you take per minute. Now we're going to do a little demonstration for this. So JT, why don't you pretend to jump rope for me? So when he pretends to jump rope, he's jumping rope at about 180 beats per minute right now. All right, go ahead and stop. Now, I want you to jump rope slowly.
Okay.
How does that feel compared to the first time?
That's rough. A lot more muscular contractions, makes my heart rate increase. It's not as easy.
Yeah, it makes your legs a lot more tired. So the natural elastic recoil of the body is about 180 steps per minute. It's tough to get to 180 steps per minute because a lot of us are actually running that slow, sticky cadence, like the slow jump roper. So we're using a lot of extra energy. To fix this with running, I know when he was teaching me how to increase my cadence, I always told him, man, I just feel like I'm running faster all the time and I can't breathe. But you want to have a quicker turnover without necessarily running faster. So what are some tips that you give your runners to help them increase their cadence without necessarily going faster?
A lot of the times I'll have runners focus on the cadence of their arm swing, because if they can increase how quickly they're moving their arms, the feet will just follow.
What about using a metronome?
You can definitely download free metronomes on your phone, and don't play it all the time, it'll drive you crazy, but listen to it every now and then to see if you're on rhythm. And I find that if you're at 174 to 176 during easy runs and 180 during races, that's really where you want to be.
Yeah, it can be helpful too to use the metronome on a treadmill when you first start changing your run form, going up about 5 steps per minute each time, because that helps you set a consistent pace but increase your cadence at the same time. All right, now another really big thing that's going to help prevent injury but also make you more efficient with your running is landing on the midfoot, so that's the ball of your foot, and landing with your body over your foot, so landing over your center of gravity. Now, show me how most runners run.
They generally take their walking form where they're hitting heel first and they just run into it, they just jog into it and keep hitting the heel first or foot out in front of them.
Yeah, so heel strike is a really common run form. It increases the amount of force going up through the body, and potentially, especially if you're overstriding or taking really big steps with that, it puts a lot of force through your knees, your heel, your shin, even your hips, your low back, and it can increase your risk of injury. So I'm going to have you turn to the side and face me, and I want you to do, we call this the scooter drill. So he's going to bicycle his leg or scooter his leg, and he wants to hit the midfoot or the ball of the foot right next to the arch of his other foot. This is an exaggerated motion. You're not going to do this when you're running, but it's to help your body figure out how you need to move your leg to get that midfoot strike and land under your center of gravity.
Okay.
Yep. It also helps with getting a little more knee extension in your run. Perfect. And you want to practice this on both sides. It's a little awkward, but it'll help your body get used to that motion. Once you have your scooter drill down, we're going to show you how to transition that into a more natural run form. So first, you're going to scooter a couple times to get that motion, and then as your knee comes up, you're going to hop onto your front foot. Bring your knee up, hop onto your front foot. So JT will show you that. It's a very exaggerated motion. Practice that as you're landing on your center of gravity. Once you get comfortable with this exaggerated motion, then you're going to turn it into a more natural run form. Another common mistake we see runners make is they break at their waist and they get too much forward lean. This is going to put a lot of stress through the low back. So just to set an example, lean forward, and I want you to try this at home too. Lean forward and then run in place leaning forward, and just feel how much stress goes through your low back and down into your legs. Now stand up tall and run in place again, just like this, and it alleviates a lot of that stress on the low back. As you're doing that, you still want forward lean. You want your momentum to be going forward. So I want JT to show me leaning from the ankles, standing tall, and then leaning from the ankles. So you're gonna lean forward, take a couple falling steps. Good. And then you wanna think about that concept as you run and really lean from the ankles. One of the last things we're gonna talk about today doesn't have so much to do with injury prevention, but it does have a lot to do with efficiency. I find that arm swing, JT already mentioned, helps with increasing cadence, but it can also really be beneficial towards the end of a race when you're feeling really tired. I know when my legs don't want to go any faster, but I need them to keep going, if I really pump my arms and focus on building up energy, it drives me forward. So I'm gonna have you face me again. Put your arms by your side and pull your elbow back and then let it just fall forward, let gravity pull it forward. So I'm gonna have you alternate arms and just really focus on that popping back. And then as you run, this is gonna build up energy and really push you forward. Seems a little bit counterintuitive when you first start doing it, but it can help with efficiency, especially when your legs don't wanna go any faster. So we've given you a couple tips to work on for your run form. We talked about cadence, we talked about pulling your foot into more of a midfoot strike, landing under the center of gravity or under your body, standing tall, leaning from the ankles, and then using your arm swing to your advantage. This is a lot. It doesn't seem like a lot, it's only a couple things, but as your brain is trying to break habits that you've probably had for most of your life, it's a lot for your brain to process. So pick one thing at a time, work on that for a couple days to maybe a week, and then incorporate these other concepts in. If you don't change anything, really think about cadence, 180 steps per minute plus or minus 5, and then throw in some of the other things if you can. Thank you for joining me today.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you guys for watching, and I'm gonna leave you today with the word of the week. This week's word is resiliency. Resiliency means the ability to bounce back. So we talk about cadence, we talk about minimizing the amount of force that we're getting out of the ground. So it's kind of like a spring. You're gonna compress it, it's gonna bounce back. I want you to think about that as you go through your training. When you start a new training plan or a new fitness plan, new health regimen of any sort, it's hard. Your first week or two especially, you don't wanna do it. It's cold outside. Be resilient. Plan, have accountability from your friends, and just think about the end goal. You're gonna do this race, you're gonna do awesome, you're gonna have fun. Be resilient. If you want more information about the rest of the training plan, go to uthealtheasttexas.com/run. Stay tuned for next week.